All right. So good morning, everyone. First, for those who doesn't know me yet, my name is Leticia. I'm part of the Israel Economic Mission in São Paulo. Here with us, we have Yarden, that is the head of the Economic Mission, also Felipe from Apex, and Julia from ABVCAP. The idea today is to explain a little bit more about ScaleUp in Brazil, how you can enjoy the program, what is the benefits, what you can gain with that. And of course, we'll have an Israeli company sharing with us their experience as well, how it was to enter in the Brazilian market, how was their experience with the program. So just for you guys to know how that's going to go, we're going to start with some welcome remarks from Yarden. Felipe, after that, we'll go with the presentation about the program. We'll have a company sharing their experience with us, and then at the end, we'll have some moment for Q&As.
Thank you, Leticia. First, good afternoon, everyone. I'm very glad to see the audience here interested in Brazil. Shana Tova. Also, we are in this moment of the year. As Leticia mentioned, my name is Yarden Iftach. I'm the head of Israel Economic Mission in São Paulo. I've been in Brazil already for 3 years and really glad to lead this program for already 3 years in a row. Now we're starting the 6th year of this program that was established as Israel as one of the founding partners, together with ABVCAP and Apex Brazil. The idea of this program was to really help Israeli companies that are interested in the Brazilian market, because we identified that, sometimes companies really want to work here, but there is some barrier, there is some difficulty understand some of the important things about this market. If it's how to do business with Brazilian, that is a bit different direction, a different culture than Israeli, regulation, how to open company, legal matter, labor. There is a lot of aspects that you need to take into consideration when you want to work here. So this is a market in one hand that is very scalable. This is why we call it ScaleUp in Brazil, but you need to do it right. So this is why we create this program. Many of companies that already working here in Brazil, open subsidiary or working other way in Brazil, started from this program, and we see companies that participate in the first round of the program come back later and continue doing business here. So I think it's a really, really good start for companies that are serious about the Brazilian market, want to work here, but not yet sure the best way to do so. It is commitment, so I really encourage you, like Felipe will explain later what does it include. So it's right for companies that really put it as their target market. And I think it's really a nice opportunity. Last year, we had also some support of the Ministry of Economy to subsidize some of the expenses. It was around 15,000 shekel. I think this year it will be around 20,000 shekel. So it's also something to keep in mind, that you will be able, probably, and I think nowadays they are launching the program, you will be able to get some cover of the expenses of your trip if you're gonna participate in the program. So that's it. The Economic Mission is here for you regardless of the program. We have 2 offices, one in Sao Paulo, one in Rio de Janeiro, and our idea is to support Israeli companies that come here to Brazil. You can contact me or Leticia later also if you have any question about the program in general about Brazil. And again, I wanted to wish you all Shana Tova v'metuka, and Felipe, the floor is yours.
Perfect, Yarden. Thank you so much for this great introduction. The program is really great, and you see by me and Yarden talking about it that we are very proud of it. It's one of our darling programs here at Apex Brazil. But first of all, thank you so much for you all being here. I hope that this can be a elucidating session that can take all your questions about the program. First of all, Apex Brazil is the company I work for, is a Brazilian government agency that's focused on export promotion and investment attraction, okay? I work in the investment sector of this program, and we have a long-lasting partnership with ABV Cap, that is the co-founder of this program together with Apex and Israel Economic Mission. ABV Cap is the Brazilian Association of Venture Capital and Private Equity. So since the beginning of the program, since the inception, we've been collaborating between Apex, ABV Cap, and the country partners like Israel, like Japan, and right now Finland is joining us for the first time as well. So what is ScaleUp in Brazil? ScaleUp in Brazil is a soft landing program focused on attracting very innovative companies to Brazil and supporting them as they establish here. Okay, here's the cap. But before I start on the program, I want to be very, very quick on an overview about Brazil, because some of you guys are already more advanced in the expansion plans to Brazil, but some of you guys are still not sure if Brazil is the right country for you. So very quick, just an overview of the macro numbers of Brazil: $2.3 trillion. Sorry, this usually is on the top 10 economies in the world. And if you see, 211 million people live in Brazil, also one of the most populous countries in the world. And this is just to have a quick idea of the size of Brazil. You can see Israel right here, just to give you an idea of the immensity of the country, okay? That's why it's such a great country to do a scale-up session, because differently from the US, we have a unitary system. So the same laws that you go in São Paulo are the same laws in Rio de Janeiro, the same laws in Amazon. It's a whole country together. You don't, in US, sometimes it's like entering a whole new market when you change states. Another thing that many people don't know about Brazil is that we are usually on the top countries that most receive investment from abroad. If you see, we are just behind US and China, Singapore and Hong Kong being very particular cases. And here, why do we say Brazil as a scale-up nation? Because Brazilians are one of the most early tech adapters in the world. TikTok, we are one of the biggest users. Netflix, Instagram, we are always in the top of the most adopters or early adopters of new technology. Mobile phone subscription in the country got to 99%, and internet penetration is actually close to 90% now. And especially during after the pandemic, e-commerce market size exploded in Brazil, and now it's a huge section. Okay. Now a quick overview of the VC. This is not to make fun of our neighbors. We are very good neighbors with everyone there, but this makes sure that Brazil in Latam, when you're speaking about Latam, Brazil is unavoidable. We are half of the deals in Latam and half of the volume of deals as well. And that's why, that's because we are one of the most mature ecosystems in the region. Chile started a little bit before us in the VC sector, but our ecosystem matured much faster than theirs, okay? These are usually the sectors that the Brazilian VCs look for. As most of you probably know, fintech is our bread and butter. That's what we're really good of. About like half of our unicorns are in the fintech sector, but we have other very good sectors as well. Deep tech has been growing a lot in Brazil and is very sought after by the investors. And we'll be seeing a huge increase around health tech and agri-tech as well. Okay. This is what I was talking about the maturing ecosystem. The first VCs, as we understand, at least the most famous one, started around 2005 here in Brazil. There's Monashis and Kazakhs that maybe some of you heard about. And since then, it's been exploding and growing a lot. From less than 10 in 2010 to 120, closer to 200 VC funds in Brazil by 2025. The same thing happened with corporates, corporates that are investing in innovation. And Apex Brazil was very proud of this number because we were a huge part in this maturity of corporates here in Brazil. And from 0 unicorns, our first unicorn was in 2018, 99 taxis, and now we are over 30. And this is a quick show of them. As I said, most of them on the fintech area. Nubank, probably the most famous one that you guys probably heard about, but also Stone, PagSeguro, Vitex, C6 Bank, Creditas, all in the fintech sector, but also a couple in different ones. 99 on mobility, Log on logistics, Madeira furniture. So there's a lot of other sectors that are growing in Brazil. And going back in the idea of a scale-up nation, there's 2 other unicorns that technically are not Brazilian, but I always like to add at this list of Brazilian unicorns, which is Mercado Libre, which is, I don't know if many of you know, the biggest competitor of Amazon in Latam, and probably the most valuable company in Latam right now. It was a tiny company in Argentina, and once it was invested by Kazakh, it moved to Brazil and exploded and became a unicorn in just a short period of time. And another one is Rappi, very similar. They are similar to Uber Eats from Colombia, and once they were invested by Monachis, a Brazilian famous VC, they moved to Brazil and exploded towards a unicorn. Brazil, with just the market of Brazil, many companies can become unicorns because the market is so huge. Okay, now let's move on to the program itself. And Leticia, I told you before, if I'm talking too much, if I'm running out of time, please interrupt me, okay?
You have all the time you need.
Perfect. Sorry about the Japanese startups. We just came back from Japan, so I'm using the same slides. I apologize for that. But this is the value proposition of our program. These are the pillars we build our program around, and being very clear, the same methodology that we use in this program is exactly the same methodology that Apex Brazil uses in our own company. So when Brazilian companies want to go abroad, that's the same methodology that we use here. And for us, the most important thing, whenever you're thinking about expanding abroad, what's the first thing and the most decisive thing is customers. If you're going abroad and you cannot find any customers, it doesn't matter if you have the funding, it doesn't matter if you have the most amazing soft landing program, it doesn't matter whatever mentoring you have. If you have no customers, it won't work. That's something that we figured out very early here. So we spend most of our resources and most of our time in this program trying to put you in front of customers, okay? We hire a biz dev, a business developer, with his only mission is to find customers for you and schedule meetings for you when you come here to Brazil for our immersion. He's not going to do any reports about market entry. He's not going to do any strategic thinking with you. No, he's just going to be focused on putting you in front of clients, because we have an understanding that unless you can find customers here, there's no point for us to continue the expansion, you know. And all sort of adaptation that you're going to need to do with your product before coming to Brazil and all that, you're going to learn by talking with customers. Okay, so both us, Apex Brazil, the BizDev, and the economic mission, Israeli economic mission, we are very focused on finding new potential customers here in the country. Okay. As always with other soft landing programs, we also try to give you as much intelligence and as much knowledge about the country before you come here. As Yarden was telling you, we have many webinars and workshops that try to give you some insights about how to do business in Brazil, how to set up a company, how to do marketing in Brazil, because it's going to be different from what you guys are used to. And it's very important. We try to do that mostly before you arrive to Brazil, okay? We try to give you that all online beforehand. So when you are in Brazil, all your time is not wasted in a classroom, you know? It's focused on business. We try to, every single day of the mission, the 2 weeks mission that I'm going to show you in a little bit, every single day, you're going to have a different business event where you can either meet one-on-one with clients that the biz dev is scheduled, or you're going to go to an event with a matchmaking session where we put you on a group, and then you're going to exchange contacts and all that, or you're going to present your pitch to potential clients or potential investors every single day, okay? One thing that we really try to differentiate ourselves here, when we were building this program, we did a lot of benchmarking with different soft landing programs, and we saw that a lot of them risked becoming subsidized tourism, where obviously they're coming to Brazil, so they want to go to Copacabana, they want to go to the Christ the Redeemer and all that. There's gonna be none of that, guys. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, no Copacabana. The program is 2 weeks long. The immersion is 2 weeks long, so there's a weekend in between. So if you guys want to go to Copacabana in the weekend, if you guys want to go to a soccer match, a football match, cool, call me, I'll go with you. But during the weeks, during the immersion, we're gonna be business. We know how difficult and how sensitive it is for especially startups to be away from their operations for 2 weeks, and how much they pay to come here as flight tickets and accommodation. So we try to be very respectful of your time and try to give you as much value for your time as possible during this immersion, okay? Further than that, besides the customers, the market strategy, the learning about the business, the cultural environment, we also have a great network here, not only through our partners, ABV Cap, all the biggest VCs and corporate investors here in Brazil, where we can put you in touch with them, especially if you're fundraising, we're gonna put you in touch with them. But they also a great connection. They open many doors in different markets, so that's a great. And they also give you access to funding, yeah? Further than that, as you can see in big red blocks in the slides, all the services, not only the biz dev, but also pitch training and market strategy reports, they all free of charge. We're not gonna ask anything from you guys, except 2 things. We want your commitment, because this program is almost fully funded by Brazilian public funds. So we expect that the companies that agree to come to Brazil, we expect them to attend the webinars, they attend the meetings with the biz dev, and be here during the immersion in August. And we also don't cover flights costs and accommodation costs. This is for 2 reasons. First, because legally we are not allowed to as Apex Brazil. And second, because if your company is not ready to pay for flights and accommodation, maybe your company is not mature enough to do an international expansion, okay? But besides that, everything's gonna be free, everything's gonna be subsidized by the Brazilian government. Here is a quick overview of the program stages. I'm gonna send another one with the specific dates with you very soon. But I want to show you all this because this program has high commitment parts and low commitment parts. The program as a whole, from beginning to end, takes 18 months, but some parts you're gonna have a low intensity interactions with us, and some other parts are gonna be a bit less intensive. The first one, overview of the Brazilian market, is gonna be a very, very low intensity period. It's gonna be 1 webinar a week for, I think 5 weeks, always on a Tuesday, where we give you all the information that Yarden mentioned, how to do business in Brazil, the market in Brazil, how it works. We get a law firm to give you an overview of the Brazilian tax system. And here we try to be very candid and very open about the opportunities of Brazil, but also the challenges. We're not going to sugarcoat it and just promote Brazil as this wonderful country. We know that our tax system can be daunting for some companies, and we try to show you with experts, because we know that even though it is daunting, there are opportunities through it, okay? This first section is going to be open for pretty much every company. If you fit the basic criteria, you're going to be allowed to be there. Okay. After that, between stage 1 and stage 2, that's when things start to scale to be a bit more intense. We're going to have a selection process between 1 and 2. And it's very important to say this. It's not me, Felipe as Apex, or Leticia from Israel Economic Mission that are going to select the companies. We're going to refer to the private sector to do the selection. They have a lot more knowledge about agri-techs, fintechs, healthcare than us. So we ask from our partners in the private sector to analyze your companies, to analyze the information you provide us, and then we'll rank you according to their evaluation. Okay. During this selection process, the top 30 best qualified companies will have the opportunity to do a pitch presentation for our judges, and we're going to select the 20 best ones to be invited to come to Brazil after this pitch session. Okay. If you guys have any questions about the process, we can talk about it afterwards, or you can even do one-on-one meetings. Okay. But I ask you to hold your questions to the end. Then that's after we have the selection of the 20 companies, that's when the high intensity part of the program starts, because that's when all the services starts kicking in. That's how the biz dev is going to start talking to you. You're going to be introduced to a award-winning pitch training consultant that is amazing, is really good. Mentoring is going to start as well, and all the preparation to come to Brazil. The immersion itself is going to happen in the first 2 weeks of August next year. So you have plenty of time. These 2 weeks, as I mentioned, is going to be a 2 weeks of tailor-made agenda for you guys focused on business. And after that, you go back to Israel and you adjust your product, you adjust whatever you need, get the feedback from the clients, and get everything ready. And then we have a second immersion, but this is a very particular one. This is going to be optional for those companies that in their market entry strategy, they either are looking for funding or their main clients are corporates. Because this immersion, that is a 1-week immersion, is going to happen at the same time as Corporate Venture in Brazil. Corporate Venture in Brazil is the second biggest corporate venture capital event in the world. We are just behind California. It's run by Apex Brazil and I forgot their name, Global Venture Capital International Association. And it's where most of the Brazilian CVCs and a lot of foreign CVCs get together, and they have a huge event in São Paulo. Since Apex Brazil is one of the organizers, we can get tickets for all the startups to be in this event, network with these CVCs and corporates, and we do a special matchmaking for these companies, trying to connect you with all the CVCs around the event. And more important, if your solution has a fit with the team of the event, we're going to put you in the main stage to present your solution. We did that before a couple of years ago, right, Leticia? And it was amazing. It's a great exposure. You're going to be talking with the top guys of the Brazilian corporate venture scene. So I highly recommend, but I understand it's not for everyone. Two trips to Brazil in the same year. This is going to happen in October 2026. 2 trips to Brazil in the same year is not for everyone. So it's an optional immersion. I want to make that very clear. Okay. And after that, post-program support. We know that spending internationally is very taxing, and it doesn't happen from one day to the next. So Apex Brazil and the Israel Economic Mission to Brazil, we're going to keep supporting you throughout afterwards the program. Okay. So if you, Felipe, I didn't get to talk with this particular client, can you try to connect me? Oh, Felipe, I need to talk with this government agency that someone told me that I need to talk. We're going to be here to help you. Okay. This is some example of the events we're gonna have during your immersion. But more importantly, I wanted to show this. During your immersion, the compulsory one, the 2 weeks in August, you're gonna be incubated at Cubo Itaú. For those who don't know, Cubo Itaú is the most famous, the most successful accelerator in Brazil, funded by Itaú Bank. That's the biggest bank in Brazil. And these accelerators is very interesting because they are, I think, 12 floors of space, and each single floor is sponsored by a different corporate. So while you're gonna be there working on the day-to-day during the immersion, you're gonna have access to all the biggest corporate venturing CVCs innovation teams that have offices inside. We also do events with them where you can present your solutions to them. It's very, very exciting. And here the CV in Brazil, the event that I mentioned to you for the second immersion. These are some of our partners in Brazil. You can in the world, you can see a couple of Israeli here. Our Crowd, Israel Innovation Institute, Mati Haifa. We are very proud of our partnerships. Here is the timeline. How are we with time, Leticia?
We're good. Keep going. We have a few more minutes.
Okay, I'm nearly done. So I'm gonna send these slides for you guys later so you can see each date in detail. But the important ones are registrations are open till October 31st. Okay, so you have still a little bit of time to do the registration. It's a very simple registration. As I said, we're gonna share the information with judges, VCs, and tech hubs. So we're not gonna ask anything, any sensitive information or anything confidential. Okay. Stage one, we're gonna do the selection process. Stage one starts beginning of next year. And the immersion itself is gonna be in August 3rd to 14th. Okay, and the second one in October 26th to 30. Okay. Here are our results. I don't know if you guys have seen many results from soft landing programs, but you can imagine that working with startups in international expansion, it's very tricky. So our conversion rate, 66 accelerated company to 13, actually 14. We heard that a new Israeli company just announced a contract with Brazil, Rescue Those. So 14 companies, 66 to 14 is a great conversion. Okay, we are very, very proud of these numbers, but for us, it's quite obvious why it's that so, and the reason is right there. 1,200 meetings, probably closer to 1,500 meetings with potential clients. 66 companies, 1,500 meetings. That's how it works. That's how we convert this such a great number. Okay. On top of the 14 companies that are already settled here or are in the process of settling, we have over more 33 contracts signed. So companies that came with the program, they signed contracts, but they didn't establish in Brazil yet. We know that sometimes this takes ages. And here, $27.5 million raised for local operations. This is not money that the companies brought from abroad. It's money they raised while they are here. Okay. These Japanese companies, but I wanted to talk. Let me see if I have here. There's one very success. No, I didn't put these slides here, but our biggest success case that I can think of is an Israeli company that came during our first batch. It's called C3. C3 is our example of success because C3, they were invested already by a VC that is half Brazilian, half Israeli. So that's how they found out about the program. And they do 3D modeling of orange trees. They do the digital twins, you know. And they used to work with the orange groves in Israel. And these investors said, like, look, Brazil, great producer of oranges as well. You should try to go there. And they joined the program. Through our program, they were introduced to Citrosuco. Citrosuco is only the biggest orange juice producer in the world. And soon after, was love at first sight. Citrosuco was very impressed with their solution, and they started a POC, and soon after they had a contract. And Citrosuco was so impressed with the solution that they became investors. In the year after they came here, Citrosuco invested in them. And now we just found out that last year there was another round, and Citrosuco did a follow-on on them. So that's the perfect case for us, because it shows a new technology that Brazil didn't have, that came from Israel to Brazil. So our agriculture is stronger because of that. Not only that, they also opened operations in Brazil and hired people in Brazil. So great for Brazil, but also great for ABVCAP, because the Brazilian funds, Citrosuco, for example, that didn't have access to this deal flow, were able to invest into an amazing new solution that maybe they would never heard about. And the Israeli company managed to come to Brazil and access the biggest orange juice producer in the world, that if they stayed in Israel, they would never be able to, or if they went to the US, probably they would never be able to. So that's the best success case we have. Now, very quickly, we are focusing mostly on high-tech B2B, needs to be technological tech companies, not necessarily B2B, but preferred. You need to have validated product and revenue at home. You need to have a certain level of maturity. We did have exceptions in some cases where contracts were like already further on, but mostly we asked the product to be validated. These are the criterias we're going to ask the judge to evaluate you. Okay, so this is what we're going to put. Innovation, great. Not only innovation regarding your market, but innovation regarding Brazil. If there is a solution just like yours already operation in Brazil, you're not going to score so well. So whenever you're doing your registration, please emphasize your level of innovation and what you're doing that's different, okay? Market fit, obviously, it needs to make sense to Brazil. That's why we trust a lot of our private sector partners to analyze that and see what really has fit with Brazil. Sometimes things that are great for Israel simply won't make sense in Brazil. Maturity. You need to be generating revenue, or you need to be invested by a VC in your home country, or you're already expanded internationally to another country, okay? And team, the best your team, if you have serial entrepreneurs or a PhD in your team, please put that in the registration as well, because that's very important. Or especially if you already has a person in Brazil, put that in your registration form. That's very important for us to know, okay? I think that's it, what I mostly wanted to go through, but I'm free if any of you wants to know a little bit more. If you want to do a one-on-one session so I can go into more detail of the program, please feel free to send me a message or send a Leticia a message, and we can schedule a meeting with you guys, okay? Sorry for talking so much. I hope it was clear. We're going to have a Q&A at the end, and I'll stay as long as it needs to sort out any questions, okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you, and it was right on time, so no need to apologize. So now, guys, as we mentioned, we did bring an Israeli company that already went through the process to enter the Brazilian market. Gabriel from Bytes will share a little bit about his experience, not only with the program, but how was, the whole process of bringing Israeli company to Brazil. Gabriel, it's all yours.
Hey guys. Hi Felipe, hi Arden, hi Leticia, miss you guys. Hi,
Hello,
Julian.
Gabriel.
Good to see you again. May I share my screen?
Yes,
go
yes,
ahead.
I think you can share it.
Please let me know when you are seeing the... Yeah?
Yes.
So guys, good morning. Nice to meet you. And I prepared this presentation here so I can explain a little bit who I am. Oh, it's not this one, sorry, it's this one. Here we go. So, who I am, why I brought Bytes to Brazil, and how it's been my experience so far. So, a little bit about me. So, I'm talking about my professional life. I have a lifetime selling B2B solutions that really works. I'm working for more than 15 years selling enterprise solutions in different markets. I used to be like headhunter, working for startup companies, and I lived in Israel even for 2 years, and I know exactly how to work with Sabras, and this makes all the difference. To be very honest, understanding the culture, understanding the country, and how they react about the problems, the solutions, and everything. So this is making all the difference from my experience and with my relationship with them so far. And why did I bring Bytes to Brazil? And I say bring because I was like in a moment that I was challenging myself to do something more entrepreneurial, and I met a guy that was willing to invest in Bytes, and he told me, look, Gabriel, I think that you have like a big match with this company, and I think that your opinion would be like amazing for my decision. I was a little bit surprised for him to ask me to do that. And what I did a big research. I talked to 15 CEOs and HR directors to understand how was the fit of Bytes like in the market. And this is what I think that the ScaleUp program will be very helpful for you guys, introducing a lot of people and companies. And I did that myself. I talking to all of them. I understood the competitors, I understood the price, I understood the difference or the differentials of our system and everything. I took all this research, I presented to him. He said, wow, this is amazing, I like it. And what do you want back from this research that you did? I asked him to introduce the founders because I want to take Bytes to Brazil. And then was everything very easy because I explained all the potential of Brazil. I explained about myself and what I was willing to do, my intentions with Bytes here in Brazil. And then we started doing that in December of 2023. Okay, so that's exactly what's happening. And after 2023, when we starting get everything in Portuguese, like the website, system, and preparing everything for me be able to sell Bytes in Brazil, because there is no option to do not have everything in Portuguese. No one in Brazil speaks English, so it's very hard if you don't have like, or if you have any resistance in this topic. And in the first month, I got my first client. And how did I do that? I took like family and friends, and I took my first client, like a paid client, it's still a client. Even they upsell, it's one of the best clients so far. And why this first client very soon was very important in my experience, because it was like a lesson here, like how the system works, how all the feature works, what are the use case, and like when you practice this, it's very different when you just learn how it works, like in theory. And here we could see like in practical happening. So this made all the difference having this first client very soon, so I could prepare myself even better to sell to other clients. In the month number 7, I got my first enterprise client, and this is very important. I'm not sure how it works in other countries, but enterprise clients in Brazil, it's between 6 months to 2 years to get your contract signed. It's huge, like the process and all the purchase, IT, compliance, legal, and everything that you have to go through, but probably you already know that. And in September of 2025, we year to date here, we have already a lot of brands, global brands, even like L'Occitanie, EDP, and other brands that they are becoming global because of Brazil. So this is very nice, and this is beautiful because Brazil, for all these companies is like a huge market, and then they start expanding the solutions for other ones. So it's been very nice to see that. And Brazil is already like the second country behind US. The potential that we have here is amazing. And but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Brazil is challenging, very challenging. Political instability isn't the only challenge. We have like regulatory complexity, tax burden, currency and payment systems, cultural adaptation, trust and brand building, and customer support expectation and competition. Going a little bit deeper about that, we can see like we have 34% consumption taxes before the reform that we will face right now. LGPD, that's the same thing of GDPR that you have like in Europe. This is something that applies here, and it's very important for you to follow every rule. And from consumer values and behavior, Brazilians often prefer relationship, trust, and reliability. So we make business here, making relationship, having lunch, talking, seeing each other. So this is very important. And the high expectations for service quality. So Brazilians are less tolerant of delays in personal support or vague answers. So this is very, very important for you to understand when you establish your company here. And the annual inflation rate was like 5.13% in August, down slightly from 5.23% in July. So this is something that brings attention. So Brazil is not for beginners at all, okay? So, but as gloomy as the picture might have looked, we have also got some good news. So Brazil at a glance, we have 183 million people, like internet users. That's very, and it's amazing. We have 24% in e-commerce growth annually, and digital service adoption is still expanding. 5.8% unemployment rate, so this is a record here in Brazil, and 210 million, a continental size country with 210 million sharing a single language. And Bytes Brazil at a glance, we already have 120% growth year over year. So so far, so this should be even bigger. We have like 40% increase in average ticket size year over year, 30 clients in 2 years so far. So this is amazing. And 100% everything that we did, it's outbound. So my strategy so far it's working with outbound, and so we know exactly where we want to be, which clients we want to have. We are approaching them with very focus, and it's working very well. So this is my last slide, just lessons, some lessons to learn here. So Brazil is relational and informal. Here maybe often means no. This is very important for you to know. And yes can still mean maybe. So sometimes you will have like some meetings that you will say, wow, this is amazing, just matter of time to sign. It's not truth. You have to keep going and run a lot to make this happen. Mind São Paulo, but don't forget there's much more. We have got seats that size of entire countries. So Brazil is huge. Pay attention in all of these cities around São Paulo. And Brazilians need to trust you. It's a key that your company has a real presence here. Sometimes I see some companies starting like far away, thinking that the magic will happen. I don't think that this is the solution. And tropicalizar, I mean, like, means that offering tools and support in Portuguese in a Brazilian way isn't nice to have, it's a mandatory. So I think that these are the main lesson learned that I can share with you so far. So if you have any questions, please feel free, Leticia, Felipe, Yarden.
Thank you, Gabriel. It's good to hear from a company, how was their process as well to enter the Brazil. And one time I remember I heard from an Israeli company, they are really successful now in Brazil, but the guy is here like on a monthly basis. It's an offer from Marvin. And one time he said that Brazil is 50 shades of yes. So as Gabriel said, yes, could be maybe, could be no, could be one day, one time. So Brazil, we usually don't go into confrontational. So if we don't say no, so if we don't like your technology, we're not going to say straight no into your face. We're just going to avoid you and not reply to your emails. So it's also important to keep that in mind. We do have 2 questions, and of course, Felipe, Gabriel, actually we got a few more. But let's start with a company that I think it's also important that Felipe would answer that. So Daniel, he asked, like, we are a SaaS startup. They recently opened an entity in Brazil and already have some local customers. Is the program still available for them? So I will start, and then Felipe can complement. It's case by case that we check the companies, but it will depend on how recently you open the local entity here in Brazil. But Felipe, you can go ahead and add more information on that.
No, it was exactly what I was going to say. Usually the program is focused, because it's a soft landing program, the focus is to attract new companies to Brazil. So if you already have an entity here, usually the establishment of an entity is our KPI, is how we keep track of the success cases in Brazil. So it can be tricky. It depends. If you literally just opened this a couple months ago, before, maybe we can do an exception. But if it's been open for over a year, over 6 months, it might be a little bit tricky. Please come get in touch with us with your particular case by email, and we can schedule a call and see if you fit or not. But regardless, if you don't fit with the program, don't worry, both Israel Economic Mission to Brazil and Apex Brazil, we have other ways to support you. So keep in touch and let's talk. Okay.
We have 2 other questions. I'll start with another one, and then I'll also add some insights. So someone asked that it's a huge taxation for Israeli companies, and the current government is against Israel. What is our advice? So first of all, the government itself does not represent the whole population. As we mentioned, Brazil, it's a huge country, continental country. Brazil, Felipe works for Apex, and we do have a great relationship with Israel. That's why we've been doing that for 6 years, 6th edition. And from what we're seeing, even before or after the whole situation, it's already difficult to sell the technology to the government because it has to go through a bidding process. You need to have a local entity, you need to have a representative here. And with us, what we're feeling with the private sector, it's that nothing has changed. We're keeping business as usual. We did have a lot of Israeli technologists signing up contracts with local entities in Brazil. So regarding that, the taxation, it's huge for everyone, not only for Israel. So yeah, even for us, it's huge taxes for us. So you guys, of course, we need to have a good lawyer, a good accountant to, help you to go through with that. But Felipe and Nier, then they can also help me with that question.
Yeah, just about the part of, there is a big difference, I think, from statement to real life. Like we eventually, when you work in Brazil, most of the company, they not try to sell to the federal government, they would like to sell to the private market, to work with the private market. Also, there is a different, in the political view between the federal and the states. For instance, Sao Paulo, the south of Brazil, is more like right wing. Think about it a bit like US. There is a big difference between the states. But anyway, like when we are talking about economic ties, economic relationship, it's still stable. We continue doing this program for a 6th year with Apex, that they are federal entity. So we are just keeping the politics aside and, focusing what we love in doing business and doing things that will be a win-win for everyone. I can share with you, like, for instance, 2 weeks ago, we had a cyber delegation coming to Brazil with 8 companies. We met with the biggest companies in the market, and we didn't get any like negative response or something like that. And I don't know, maybe Gabriel also can share from his experience. And about the taxation, I think it's very important, as Leticia mentioned, to have a good lawyer, good advice. Like, there is a different, for instance, if you would classify your product in one way or another, and also there is different in the taxation between countries in Brazil. So sometimes it will be good for you not to open your company in Sao Paulo when the taxation is X, and do it in other country where you have some benefits. So this is something to keep in mind, and there is a way to make sure your product is more, you will pay less taxation. The last point, like, if you have hardware or some goods, there is free trade agreement between Israel and Brazil. So comparing to other countries, you have advantage. You still need to pay some taxation, but the tariff that you will have is for most of the product is nearly zero. So there is some taxation that you will be free of.
Perfect. Yeah, I would just add, thank you, Yarden. That was a very complete answer. Just quickly add, as Gabriel mentioned, they are in the process also of simplifying the tax system and reducing. We already see some improvement, and we should see improvements in the future as well. And the program, we went to different governments already, and as Jordan said, we try to keep politics aside and focus on business here. Okay, that's what we want to focus. But thank you, Jordan. That was a very good answer.
Thank you. We have 5 more minutes, so I'll give the floor to one more question, and then the rest we can address, accordingly. So someone asked, could you give a short description? What does it take to open a new entity, time and expenses? So I think Felipe and Gabriel, we could address that. Gabriel had the experience of opening an entity here. So just some time and the process.
Gabriel, please go ahead. You have more experience on that.
Sure. So there is a bureaucracy in Brazil to open an entity here, but it doesn't take so long. I think that if you follow all the steps, I think around 2 to 3 months, it's time enough for you to open the entity. And in terms of costs, it will depends a lot the kind of legal company or accountancy company that you will hire. You have like all kinds of more boutiques or more enterprise companies, and this makes all the difference about the services, because actually the support that you need to open is just to give you the advice and the steps that you can go. So it's pretty it's bureaucratic, but it's not difficult. And so it can I think that we will like expand maybe between $3,000 to $7,000. It depends the legal or accountancy company that you will use for, but it's not expensive. This is not the big investment that you will have to do, for sure.
Yeah, perfect.
Right.
I would say the same, Gabriel. It really depends on your company and your specific cases. It depends, like, if you're gonna import stuff from outside and resell here, if you're gonna open a facility here, it really depends. It could go less than $1,000 to pay all the documents to over $7,000, depending on the structure. I always really recommend for you to talk with a lawyer. During the program, you're going to be introduced to many different lawyer firms that we are partners with. They specialize in foreign companies coming to Brazil. So it's always good to at least have a chat with them and understand a little bit better, because it's going to change from case to case. If you have any particular doubt, come talk to me afterwards, send us an email that we can try to get your specific case. Okay?
So that was it for today, guys. Thank you so much, everyone, who joined us, that was here, the panelists. It's a really nice opportunity to share a little bit about Brazil and Israel. I will send an email afterwards with the registration link, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or Yarden. We can answer the more dynamic questions that are not about the program, and if it's something about the program, Felipe and Julia can help us as well. So that was it. Thank you so much, and as Yarden said, Shana Tova.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice day.